Good morning, everybody. I want to sing a song, and there's this song that just keeps coming to my mind, and it's a song by the late. Wow, the network seems to be a bit poor this morning. I'm going to play a song now. I want us to listen to the song as we. This morning is going to be very powerful. Good morning, everybody. I'm going to play a song now. Good morning, everybody.
After independence, we still find it hard to start. How long shall we be patient before we reach the promised land?
This song just keeps rolling my mind this morning. I just remember the song.
Yes, I want to know. Every little thing that goes wrong, we start to blame the government. We know everything that goes.
I just want to whet our appetite this morning. It's going to be very powerful this morning. Very powerful this morning. So I just got this burden on my heart, and this song just dropped in my mind. Just give me 2 to 3 more minutes. It's gonna be powerful this morning.
Corruption here, there and everywhere. Inflation is very high. Let's save Nigeria, so Nigeria won't die. What you wait to do? I love my fatherland. Oh, sure. I want to know. Yes, I want to know. We made mistakes during the oil boom, not knowing that was our doom. Some people now have everything, while many have nothing. Let's save Nigeria, so Nigeria won't fall.
So I'm just whetting our appetites, and in 2 minutes we kick off this morning's session. There are so many things that the late Evangelist Okosun is saying here that's really touched my mind, touched my heart. And that song brings to me deep memories of the last 30 years. And if any one of us here really loves Africa and we love the country called Nigeria, it's time we all stand up and play our own roles, no matter how small, no matter how little it is. So we are going to commence the seminar and the teaching now. I just brought the song up to bring goosebumps on our bodies, remembering the years of wow. I put up that song. It just came up in my mind this morning, and the memory has been very nostalgic. Very nostalgic. The memory just came up in my mind, and so this man. I mean, this man was an evangelist and a tremendous songwriter that God used in the latter part of his life. He gave his life to Christ and he began to sing, but he sang fantastic songs, unifying songs, not some of the rubbish songs that many of our young people are singing today. He sang amazing songs. Some of his songs were used for as part of the anti-apartheid movement in South Africa and in many parts of Africa. Many of Sonny Okosu's songs were sung on national and international platforms. And the songs brought a lot of memories to people in this distant part of Africa who went through rigorous years of misrule, of torture, of political instabilities. And so he became a Christian and got born again, started a church, and all his songs bring goosebumps on my bodies whenever I listen to it. 2011, 2012, he passed on to glory. And this morning, I've got a very serious teaching. And I want you to listen to me with rapt attention. Initially, I wanted to do a freestyle. You know what's called freestyling? Normally, I write out what I'm going to talk about and follow them. But sometimes I do freestyling. And freestyling, I'll be able to touch on so many things outside of the scope. But eventually, I decided to put some point down as well. I've been doing the research on it, for a couple of, days now, last 2 days, looking at the issues that we're going to cover on this topic. And before I go into this subject this afternoon, now someone was saying something recently on Facebook that enough of talking, enough of articles, enough of sermons, that these things don't do anything, that let's get on ground and do something particularly about the African population, about Nigeria, for some of us who have come from Nigeria. And I say, wow, does this guy know what he's talking about? We don't have guns. We don't have money. We have money in Jesus' name. But you don't have the kind of money I'm talking about. We don't have military weapon. And so, the only weapon we have is spiritual weapon as a Christian. Yes, sir, Brother Bori, God bless you, sir. Spiritual weapon as a Christian, and the weapon of our words, our writing, our articles, our books. And so that guy feels that writing articles, writing books, doing seminars and teachings like this do not do anything to change situations. And it's only when we go physical and we do stuff like revolutionary or whatever. And I disagree with him. There is Martin Luther King did not shoot a gun. Nelson Mandela did not shoot a gun. All of these guys fought with their mouth, fought with their hands. And so, the books that you author, they always outlive the author. So, when you write books, when you do articles, you are developing systems and structures, you are changing mindset, changing value systems that will outlast you. That will outlast you. The weapons of books last longer than weapons of guns and bombs. Weapons of books. And the impact that books and words and teachings and seminars and workshops, the impact that they have on a generation cannot be quantified. You can't quantify them. Many centuries ago, many people have written books that have been published, first, second, third, fifth, sixth editions, and our generation is still learning from their work. So you and I don't have the billions and the billions. Yes, sir. Righteousness. We don't have the billions that politicians have in Africa. We don't have access to atomic weapons that America has. So America has probably one of the best in the world, or among the best in the world. So they can threaten any nation, tell any country, sit down. And countries will be afraid of America. These guys are very powerful, and they sit down because they know they're very powerful military and they have weapons. They can just drop one missile in your country and create problem. So this guy in North Korea that makes noise, Kim Jong-un, whatever his name is called, and when somebody that was able to match his level of madness came on board. Now, when Obama was there, he was behaving funny. But when another madman came on board, and so two madmen are now competing. Now, you see the way he's behaving now. He's not trying to come on board to dialogue, and then he's not inviting South Korea. Things he never did in centuries. So when somebody else that had access to weapons came, and the guy said, the button of my atomic bomb is on my table. And Trump said, my own is bigger and it works. My own is bigger and it works. The man kept quiet. And so you and I don't have atomic weapon button. We don't have guns. We don't have all this. The only weapons we are commanded to have as Christians, the weapon of our warfare, and the weapon of prayer, the weapon of speaking out the truth, the weapon of writing, the weapon of doing seminars and teachings. When we do these things, we are changing the mindset of people. The greatest battle that any society can win is the battle of the mind. If you can successfully change people's mindsets, you have changed generations. The difference between the black man and the white man is not color. I have said this repeatedly. The difference is in thinking and mindset. We are not inferior to white men because we are black. We are not inferior to them because we don't speak Queen's English. We are not inferior to them on any ground. But what I'm saying is this: they are not bringing out better result than us because of our color per se. It is our mindset, value systems, what we place value on, what is dominant on our scale of preference, what is dominant on our priority list. That is the problem. And that is why we will continue to do seminar. We will continue to write books, go on Facebook. We will continue to deploy all those weapons at our disposal to ensure that we change the mindset of our people. Mindset of our people. Mindset, mind. It is a battle. It is a battle. If you have listened of, I've heard of what is called the Stockholm Syndrome. Stockholm Syndrome is when a slave master has 100 slaves, for example, under him, and you are trying to free the 100 slaves from a slave master. The 100 slaves will be fighting with you. They will be fighting with you. What's your problem? Why are you disturbing the slave master? Why are you trying to spoil his business? And you are the one trying to solve their problem, but they'll be fighting you and attacking you. That is what we are seeing on Facebook, seeing in newspaper, seeing all over the world. So I personally, by the grace of God, I consider myself to be an African. I love Africa. I came from Nigeria. I love Nigeria. I love other African countries. I have lived in South Africa. I have a lot of friends in Ghana. I have friends in Zimbabwe. I've got very close friends in different parts of Africa. And so I live, I dream, I think Africa. But obviously, I am a citizen of another country, another Western country. So if I do not want to live in Africa until the rest of my life, I don't have to do it. What I am doing is extremely sacrificial. My friends and my colleagues are going to Hawaii, are going on boat cruises. My friends are going to Dubai. They rent 7-star hotel, take their family there. I've received invitations. Come and preach here. Come and preach there. Come and preach there. Come and preach there. and they put me in a hotel, give me an honorarium, like every other pastor. They're enjoying themselves. I'm not saying it's a sin to collect an honorarium. I'm not saying it's a sin to go to hotels. I'm not saying that. But to dedicate yourself to the cause of emancipation of your friends, of your brothers and sisters, it takes the grace of God to do it. Literally, I am inconveniencing myself. I have no reason to inconvenience myself at all. My friends and my contemporaries are directors of oil companies. I have friends that own oil companies in the US. I have friends that are working with Dell, Michael Dell, and their directors sit down with him on the table and they earn millions of dollars. They have no business talking about Ghana or Congo or Cote d'Ivoire, but because I am called and anointed, God, when the Lord called me, he said, I am sending you to the captives among my people. I said captive. Anybody that is in Christ is a new creature. Ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. Christians are free. They are not bound. The Lord said that's not what I'm talking about. Captives of knowledge. Captives of knowledge. Many among my people have been captivated. They are under captivity. Knowledge captivity. Knowledge captivity. So I am sending you and putting my word in your mouth. And God said to me, do not look at anybody's face. Anything I tell you to say, say it. That's not what I'm speaking. I don't look at people's faces. And I just declare the truth and I leave the place. And I don't force the truth down people's throat. I say what I want to say and I leave the place. So I am on a mission. I have got a mandate. And the mandate is to live out convenience and embrace inconvenience. To live out pleasure and toe the path of pleasure. Now, not everybody is called into that kind of field. And there is nothing to be proud of about it. It's not a boasting matter. It is serious work. It is serious work. It is serious work. Because you have to abandon a kind of a lifestyle and embrace another type of lifestyle. Because millions and millions of our brothers and sisters are in captivity under different circumstances in Africa. And I always use Nigeria as a case study because I came from Nigeria. And I want my people to be free. I want them to be free spiritually. I want them to be free politically. I want them to be free in every area. And so, anytime I have the opportunity to travel to Africa, I just go into the markets. I go to the markets. I look for very thick markets that are not for the rich. And I go there, I just dress casually, I wear a slippers or a sandal or whatever, and I mix up with tomato sellers, pepper sellers, and I begin to shake my head. And I look at thousands of children, hopelessly hopeless, except by the grace of God. I look at children with their tummy protruding out, their heads are big, their neck is thin. Many of them are suffering kwashiorkor. Thousands, I'm not exaggerating. What I'm saying is I believe you know what I'm talking about. I go to a huge market and I survey the land and say, God. And a scripture jumped into my spirit. These people have been robbed. These people have been, there's a scripture in Isaiah. A people robbed. A people robbed. These people have been robbed. They have been robbed by so many people that should mentor them. Some religious leaders, many of them, they have been robbed by political leaders. They have been robbed by so many things. And many of them do not know their left from their rights. And many of them think that is how things should be. Many of them die in that process. Many of them fall sick. Many of them are buried. So many untimely deaths that are not called for because of this satanic menace. So that is why you and I have a role. We have a duty to play in this end time. We have not been made Africans by God as a result of an accident. God could have sent you and I to Jamaica or to Germany or to Spain. None of us had the audacity to tell God, I don't want to be born in Ghana. I don't want to be born in Lagos, Nigeria. I want to be born in number 10 Downing Street in England, United Kingdom. If God gives you and I the privilege to choose where we will be born, many of us will not choose Africa. You would have chosen a luxurious Arabian Peninsula as your nationality or something. So it's not an accident that you have found yourself where you are. And so the little I can do, the little you can do, we put it together to salvage the destiny of millions of people. The destiny of millions of people. We salvage the destiny. Do the little you can do. And sometimes I begin to cry to God. The money that is in the hand of these people, if you give me 1% of it, I'm willing to send 100,000 people to school, to university level. So the little I can do now, I do it. Very little I can do. But I begin to yarn. I say, God, empower me and open doors. Give me privilege, big projects. I call something kingdom wealth. When that kind of money comes to your hand, it is not your money. You are just a steward that God gives access to manage a resource. And then you use that resource to change people's life. And so that is my heart cry. That is what is driving me. And what you are driving is not as strong as what is driving you. And so it is a major sacrifice what we are doing. So whether you are writing or you are doing live video or you are doing whatever you are doing, no matter how small, no matter how big, we are making impact. The greatest disservice you and I can do this generation is to remain silent in an environment of evil. I wish I can blow a trumpet and say that around. The greatest damage, the greatest disaster that can befall any nation, any society, is for the good people there to remain silent in the era of evil. The younger ones, our children, they do not know their left from their right. They are depending on you and I to speak out for them. And speaking out doesn't cost anything. Speaking out doesn't cost anything. Not speaking out costs everything. Not speaking out costs everything. An average African man has been trained not to talk. I did 31 days of value system agenda. I practically lost my voice. I couldn't talk for a whole week and I had to preach in church. One of the sessions I taught, Africans are taught not to talk. When you are raising up your children and your child comes to you, you keep quiet. How dare you ask me questions? I remember how my dad and I related when I was growing up. You dare not confront the man. Daddy, what you're doing is wrong. You get a dirty slap. You dare not do it. One day my dad and my mom were having arguments. Very intense arguments. And their voices, they were shouting. And I just spoke. I said, Dad, I just spoke. I interjected. Oh my God. The whole heaven and earth collapsed on me that day. The whole heaven and earth collapsed on me. My dad will give me thorough beating. After he had beaten me, he put me in his car, take me to the hospital. We got to the hospital. They asked me, what happened to your eye? My dad looked at my face. I looked at him. I couldn't confess. Say, they have not born you. Confess and tell them I beat you. It just, the kind of a sign your parent gives you. Look at me like this. He will threaten you that I will beat you. I will take you to the hospital. I will pay for it. That's my dad. He will tell you. What you are doing, I like playing football when you are growing up. I said, how this man should have allowed me to play football. When I started listening to what Lionel Messi and C. Ronaldo were handling, I said, this man, why did you stop me? I love football. And you must not play football. You must go to school. I said that, and I was very good. And my dad would beat the hell out of me. One day I play football, and I know the sound of his car, the car horn. So when he's coming, and he banged the horn, he had a distinct sound. The car had a distinct sound. Wherever I am, if I heard that sound, if I was in front of the goalpost, and I was about to score a goal, and I heard the sound of my dad's car, the ball will stop there. It must stop. Everybody knew that this man had a dad somewhere. One day I did that thing, and I rushed home. I was sweating. I didn't know that the man had seen me. I was sweating. I removed my clothes. I took a dry clothes, wore a dry clothes. I went under the bed and I covered myself with the clothes on the bed. The man just came inside. He came straight to my room. He beat the hell out of me. Oh, I thought I was smart. My clothes was drenched in sweat because the man said, "You must not play football. You must not play football. You must go to school." I said, "Why didn't this man leave me?" He did not know that football was going to pay people like this. If my dad knew they would be paying people £100,000 per week 200,000 pounds per week, he would have allowed me. And maybe I will have enough money now to preach the gospel, preach and do and write books. I said, if you listen to how much these guys are earning, you don't want to go to school again for life. So what am I saying? Many of our parents didn't allow us to dialogue with them. They broke the chain. And my son will come and meet me now and say, Dad, what I've done is wrong. Dad, this is wrong. And you dare not scream at them. You dare not slap them. And the level of wisdom and intelligence that our children have now, you can compare it to what we had when we were growing up. My son, one of my sons is 8-year-old, is using Microsoft Office. And I look at him like this, 8-year-old boy, using Microsoft Office PowerPoint, 8 years old. I started using Microsoft Office at 21, 22. 14 years difference between my generation and a generation. So their generation is the smart generation. The smart generation. So what am I driving at? You and I, we live in a generation where we must unzip our mouth. The era of silence has gone. You unzip your mouth. You do not condone evil wherever you are. Any kind of evil. You don't, you know, in the military. In the military, if someone is planning a coup and he tells you about the coup, I say, it's not my business. I don't know. If they arrest that person after planning that coup, they will pick you up. That you have heard about the coup, you are already implicated. You are already implicated. That you heard about it and you didn't participate is irrelevant. The moment you have heard about it, you must go and report that you have heard. That is the ethos of the military. That is the ethos of the military. So in the military, people are not trained to zip their mouth. Once you hear about evil, you must tell your immediate boss. Somebody is planning a coup. I don't know about it. Or you record his voice and you expose him. I wish you can transfer that value to our society. So this morning, I am looking at a very important subject. The role of the church and the government in using money, in using resources, to develop organized society. The role of the church and the government in using money to develop organized society. And I'm going to use a kingdom principle because I'm building on the kingdom. Everything that can make a society to be developed is in the Bible. The Bible is a book of principles, a book of value systems. Anybody who claims to be a Christian and is bereft, deficient of value system is not a Christian. Everything you need to be an excellent, a disciplined member of society is in the scripture. Truth is in the Bible. Integrity is there. Faith is there. Discipline is there. Hard work is there. Anything you need, name anything you need. The book of Proverbs alone is a compendium of wisdom. Everything you need to build an excellent company, a very successful business, everything is in the Bible. So the Bible is a book of values. It's just because when Christians read the Bible, they read what they want to hear because they avoid the areas that will tell them that be disciplined. They will go and read a place where somebody sold money and become a billionaire the following day. And you are doing yourself a disservice. So Matthew 25, one of my most favorite chapter of the Bible. Matthew 25. So Jesus told that proverb and said, a man was going on a journey and he called 3 people. He gave one 5 talents, gave the other 2 talents, and gave one 1 talent. And he told them to go and trade with talents. So I'm going to bring out some very vital principles in this. I'm just reading only 1 or 2 verses. And I will bring out some vital principles that can transform any society. And I'm going to now knock it down on the church in Africa and the government. What are their roles? What is our problem? What has made our society completely disorganized, particularly the Nigerian society? Completely disorganized. I took my children, young boys, I brought them to Nigeria about 2 years ago. So when they got to Nigeria, when they got to Nigeria, I told them, I said, you must not ask me any question. You must not ask me any question. You know why? Because their accent is American. And I don't want people to know that they are from North America or from wherever. So when they're in the car and they start to talk, I just frown my face. Keep quiet. Keep quiet. Because sometimes we have friends and people around us and we just want to pretend. Because I like to go into the market. So one day we were going on the road and one of my sons saw a woman selling fish and putting a box or whatever of fish. And my son began to scream. Look at the woman. Why is she putting something on her head? She's carrying something on her head. Mom, Dad, look at this woman. What is she putting on her head? How can somebody carry something on his head? Everybody was angry. I said, these children have finished me today. These children have finished me today. I told you not to ask me any question. What is your business about somebody carrying something on his head? What is your business? Why don't you mind your business? We laughed and laughed. We took them. We went to many places. We went to all the so-called rich areas in Lagos. We went to this place. It's called this place, that place. When we returned, anytime I mention my country to my children, and I say, I'm going back to my country, they will be screaming and be crying, Dad, we will never go to that country again. I said, what's happening? He said, Dad, their roads are bad. I said, what do you mean? That is your father's country. You are very lucky. You know what I went through in that country? It's my country. We are going back to rebuild that country. He said, no, Dad, we're not going back. I said, why are you not going back? Anytime I want to get them, and I want to get them to behave in the house, maybe they are misbehaving. We are going back to Nigeria tomorrow. They'll be screaming, Daddy, please. Well, I said, why? He said, they take light every time. I said, they take light? No. But we had a generator. I said, no, there is noise everywhere. I said, what do you mean? Everywhere is smelling. I said, young boys, I never lectured them. I always spoke positively. They know that their father is a pro-African, a pro-Nigeria. I never called them on there and told them bad things about my country. Young children of 6 years, 7 years, 8 years, they wrote down the things that they saw in the country and they vowed never to go there again. They vowed never to go there again. So that is the experience of a little child. Now look at the tens of millions, hundreds, tens of millions of young children who do not have the privilege of even going to Ghana or even seeing the airport. Many of them are there now. They may not even leave that country for the next 50 years, except as a miracle. What do you think should be their lot and their portion? That is why you and I, we must not shut our mouth. We must not be quiet until that nation becomes the other places many of us are going. Until those nations become where many of us are going. Until we make that nation become a Canaan land, a new Jerusalem. So I'm going to bring out a very vital principle. What is the role of the church and the government in the use of resources, money? There are different types of resources. Now, I am an engineer. I am a consultant as well. And I'm also a researcher. So when you hear the word resources, the first thing that comes to people's mind is money. Money is just one part of a resource. So we have what we call financial resources. We have human resources. We have intellectual capital. That is the brain of people. We have material resources. We have facilities. We have infrastructure. We have all kinds. And then we have technology. A computer software is a resource. So when you hear the word resource, it encompasses a wide variety of things. Any tool that helps you to achieve a particular kind of task, to carry out a task, is a resource. And so when you compare a Western country and you compare it with a country like Ghana or Nigeria, and you see a wide disparity. Why is Spain developed? Why is Nigeria not developed? Why is Germany developed? Why is Congo not developed? Each of these countries will have some resources, but the way these resources are managed and utilized determine to every extent, not even to a large extent, to every extent, the final outcomes of things in those countries. And so, a country like Nigeria, to me, is not a poor country. It is not a poor country. It is the way resources are managed and used. And so, in the book of Matthew 25, from verse 14 to 30, this is the Bible. You will be amazed at 4 different principles that can transform societies that are locked up in those 14 verses. This is scripture. It can change a Muslim nation. It can change a Buddhist nation. The word of God is transgenerational and completely detribalized. When you apply those principles to any society, regardless of the religion of the people living there, it transforms their life. That is why you see unbelievers who are not Christians, they practice all of these principles and it works for them. They work for them. They work for them. Because God is not a respecter of persons. The Bible says God is not a respecter of persons. Personalities don't move God. He is God anyway. He is a respecter of principles. The principles of his word. So in the Bible, if the only principles you can see in the Bible is the principle of salvation, you will be completely limited. The Bible contains hundreds of thousands of society transforming principles. It contains thousands and thousands. It's not just salvation. Salvation is just one. It's the gateway. Once you enter into that kingdom, there are so many other principles. The principle of truth, discipline, integrity, credibility, humility, resource management, all kinds of things are in the Bible. So if you are just focusing on one part and you are focusing, you'll be malnourished and become a kwashoko Christian. We have many kwashoko Christians. Their tummy is big, their head is big, their neck is thin. There is a difference between being fat and having elephantiasis. There are 2 different things. There is a difference between being fat and having elephantiasis. Why? The man that has elephantiasis is big too. But the person who has become big because of the food he has eaten is a different person entirely. So there are many people who are fat and big. They are fat and big, but they are empty inside. There is nothing inside. What is inside of them is poison. And there are other people that are healthy, they are fat, but they have just become fat and healthy because they are eating good food and a balanced diet. Don't short circuit yourself by just picking out a grain of principle in the scripture. There are thousands of life transforming, society transforming, nation building principles in God's word. And one of those principles is this. In Matthew 25, listen to this. Verse 14. When this man went out and he hired 3 men, he gave each of them according to their ability. Listen to this. The word ability stands for capacity. Capacity. So, how do you think a country like Nigeria is groaning, is suffering in the midst of plenty? It is because our capacity is corrupted. Or we don't have capacity at all. Capacity. What is capacity? When you take a glass cup to a river, you fill it up. When you take a tank to a river, you fill it up. When you take a truck to a river, you fill it up. So what you take home is determined by the capacity that you have brought to the river. That is why any serious-minded society focuses more on capacity building. Capacity building. The difference between Germany and Nigeria is not just because of resource alone. Capacity. The Germans have better, bigger, larger, more sustainable capacity. And capacity is best built by education. So when you have a country with dozens and hundreds of minerals, of bauxite, of iron, of gold, of tin, all kinds of minerals, the people in that country plus their leaders, they are unable to effectively manage and utilize these resources because of their corrupted or limited capacity. So a country with 80 million illiterates, a country like Nigeria with 80 million illiterates will find it very difficult to match a country like the United Kingdom with far higher number of literate people, because your level of literacy is connected to your capacity, your ability to think right. For the reason why many of us are having problems, many Christians, is because majority of Christians too are illiterate. So when a pastor comes to church and tells you, go and drink sand, go and drink this, go and do that, many people don't process those things in their mind. They do it because they are illiterate. And there are other categories of those who have gone to school who are educated illiterate. They have zero value systems. These are the people that we see a man being roasted in jungle justice. They will pick out their phone and be recording it. They won't stop the jungle justice. They record it, post it on WhatsApp and on YouTube, and they'll be smiling without any remorse. They are burning a human being. Everybody should be rolling on the ground and screaming. You see an average graduate in Nigeria pick out his phone on the road and recording it, and then he will look for send and post it. Those are called educated illiterate. There is nothing like value system. So any nation that will have an enormous opportunities to utilize resources very well must have qualitative capacity. Capacity in terms of quality and in terms of quantity. So when this man was telling the three men in Matthew 25, I am giving you resources according to your ability. What that tells us is this: resources and capacities, they are interwoven. Resources and capacities are interwoven. Don't forget how I describe resources: technology, software, human resources, materials, infrastructure. All of these things form what is called resources in any nation. And so when there are millions and millions of people that are low thinkers, people that are shallow thinkers, people that have no value systems in a nation plus their leaders, even if they are in the midst of billions and billions of tons of crude oil, they have no value for utilization of those resources. They just waste them. It's either those resources destroy them or they destroy those resources. That is a critical problem confronting the African society. Nigeria being the chief of them. Problem of capacity. I did a lot of work on this in one of my sessions in the value system series. Capacity. You think you know what you are doing. You think you know how to use Microsoft Office until you sit down beside a 14-year-old Chinese girl. Now I consulted for a big company sometimes ago, and I had to work with a Chinese girl. The Chinese girl was like an administrator in the company. So anytime we were having meetings with other consultants, this guy would take notes. If you see the way this guy was using Microsoft Excel, I was forced to ask her, which school did you go? Oh, she told me she went to one school. I said, no wonder. She went to one of the best schools in the world. That is what builds capacity. Nigerian graduates, a vast majority of them don't have capacity. You cannot be carrying a teacup capacity into a river and expect to be the president of a nation that will consume a river. You cannot. So your capacity needs to be enlarged. That is why the Bible said God gave Solomon wisdom and riches and exceeding largeness of heart. Listen to that scripture. God gave Solomon wisdom and riches and exceeding largeness of heart. So before God lifted up Solomon to that enviable status, he first enlarged his capacity. He enlarged his ability to think straight, ability to embrace the truth, ability to make sound judgments. God enlarged it before he gave him money. So when you give a man money with a small capacity, he will either destroy the money or the money destroys him. That is why many politicians in Nigeria, they are destroying money. They are destroying it, because their capacity is very small. A teacup capacity, it cannot rule a nation of a river capacity. That is where the problem is. That is why a man like Macron at 33, 34 can be the president of France. Capacities don't come by age alone. Capacities don't come by age alone. So many other factors: experience, relationships, exposures. So many things build capacity. There is an amount of money. If it comes to your account today, you will become something else. If you have not been trained, equipped, enlarged to handle that kind of money. Capacity. So any wise thinking government in any nation, what would they do? They invest in capacity. They invest in it. Quality education. They invest in it. They invest in it. They invest in it. I have worked with so many young graduates from Nigeria, and more than 70-80% of them have failed woefully. I'm sorry I'm saying this on air, but I have to say the truth. I am a product of Nigerian university system myself, and I know what I experienced when I graduated. I had to go back and retrain myself. I had to go back to world-class universities to retrain myself, and I had to start like from the scratch before, by the grace of God, I got to the little level I am today. Capacity. If you are a parent, the greatest gift you can give your children is to build capacity in them. And the best kind of capacity you can build in someone is education. One of the best. Education is not just reading books. You can read books. The books may not read you. There are two different things. Going into universities and universities not going through you. That is the problem of so many of us. Look at the order that this man started. The first thing he said was to examine their capacity before giving them resource. Examine their capacity. Build capacity in people. And I'm going to turn to the church now. The church has not done well in this area. I'm sorry. I'm a part of the church. I love the church. I've been blessed tremendously by the church in Africa. I've got fantastic friends, spiritual fathers. I have got them. They have done fantastic work. That is just in the spiritual. In the day-to-day running of the lives of men, we have not done well. 95% of focus has been placed on how to train people and raise them to go to heaven, which is fantastic and good. But if the ultimate reason why you are saved as a Christian is to go to heaven, the day you gave your life to Christ, God would have killed you. Why are you left on earth for another 50 years? Jesus said, occupy till I come. Occupy, take charge as kingdom diplomat. Go into the world, like I said, go and baptizo the nation. The word baptize comes from the Greek word baptizo, which is to dye people, D-Y-E, dye them, immerse them into the values of the kingdom. Anywhere you go, turn people upside down for good. We have not done well in that area. We don't build capacity in people at all. If I have to be factual, the remaining little capacity people have, we take it from them. We take it from them. We take it from them. Building capacity. The Church of God in Nigeria has done a lot of good things. I have been blessed by the Church of God in Nigeria. I have been inspired. I have been transformed. I have learned a lot. But that is one leg. On the other leg, we have not done well at all. And that is the leg of capacity. capacity development. We are not raising people that can stand on their feet. We are raising feeding bottle babies who forever and perpetually depend on their pastors. That is not in line with the scripture and with the value system of the kingdom. That is why the only principle that an average Nigerian Christian understands to becoming the greatest in life is seed sowing. Who taught us that principle? The church. You can never sow seed and know the principles of capacity development. You can never. What capacity development will give to you, seed sowing will never give it to you. Look at everybody that God used. I have used analogy several times. All the biblical examples. If you want to understand what I'm saying properly, study the life of Joseph, of Daniel, of David, of even Jesus, of Paul. Every one of them, before God put them on the throne of success, he first worked on their capacities. Joseph had his dream at 17. Joseph became prime minister at 30. That is 30 minus 17, 13 years of training, of pruning, of grooming. David was anointed at the age of 17. David became the king of Judah at 30. Jesus, for 30 years, capacity development. No miracle was recorded about Jesus for 30 years. But on the 38th year, he just came out and there was an explosion. God made sure that Jesus lived with Joseph, his foster father, and Mary, to learn submission, to learn obedience. All those value systems build capacity. In those days, they didn't go to universities. Their schooling, their education was informal. In our generation now, we have schools we can go to. Jesus himself did not escape that process. Why should you think a pastor will sweet talk you that you can give a seed and God will compress all the process of 30 years to one day and make you the president of a country? It is an heretic teaching. If you want to know the way God behaves, go and check how he behaved in the scripture. You want to know how God will behave, go and check how he has behaved in the past. Nobody can corner God. Nobody can pin God down, say this is how it's going to do, but you can look for his pattern. How does he behave? How did he relate? Even Apostle Paul, for 3 years before Paul was released, he stayed back in Jerusalem. He was being tutored, he was being mentored, he was being trained, he was being enlarged, he was being polished, he was being sharpened. Even Apostle Paul was speaking to Timothy. He said, the books that I left at Troas, especially my parchments. Daniel said, I understood by books. All of these people, they went through capacity development. God polished them up and enlarged them and made them to be tough. He toughened them. He toughened them before they got what they got. How many pastors on our altars teach this? Only a very handful. In my estimate, less than 10%. So the little capacity people have, our pastors take it from them. They take them away from them. So as the pastors are doing their own, the politicians are doing their own. The money allocated, 100 million, 200 billion, whatever, to a particular governor, 10% of this money should be used for education, to pay salaries of teachers. They siphon the money, they use it for whatever they want to use it for, and they kill capacity. They kill capacity in people. So when they steal those money and stash them in Zurich, they are killing capacity. Teachers are not paid, they go on strike. When they go on strike, students wander about. They join cult, they become armed robbers, they go into drugs, they do yahoo, they do whatever they are doing. The little capacity that's remaining in them, they kill it. That was why this man that gave them talent, it started from capacity. Don't talk about resources. So Nigeria in particular, we have a government that has made a career of putting the cart before the horse. Putting the cart. That is not peculiar to them. All other governments that I know of, putting the cart before the horse. Capacity comes first. And there are so many areas, so many types of capacity development, but the best of them all is education. Education. And so anything you can do, anything I can do to make sure we impact someone, just take somebody out and sponsor that person. All those poor children, derelicts, all the people that have become like they have been ostracized. They have no parent, orphans. Just commit to one of them in a year. Lord, I'm living in England, or I'm living in Abuja. I just want to commit myself to training one person. If I do one, you do one, and all of us across the globe, we invest in capacity development on at least one person, we will do a lot of work in that society. Because everything is connected to mindset. So when capacity is small, mindset becomes small. It becomes warped. When a man is a small thinker, his mind is already small. You can never be greater than the quality of your thoughts. As a man thinks in his heart, so is he. Your thoughts reveal to a large extent who you are. The most dominant thoughts in your mind is who you are. So you want to change a nation in terms of how money is used, how resources are utilized. Capacity must be primary, must be at the core. Ensuring that young children, primary school children, university graduates, carpenters, electricians, plumbers, all of them are brought together and trained up, and trained and polished, and you do it across all states and cities, not focusing on a city because it is my tribe, or I'm from this tribe, and then as a governor you put your money and you make it to be national. It is after the matter of capacity. See, this capacity, I can speak for it for a whole month. Every problem that we have today in the African continent and in Nigeria in particular is connected to capacity. Every problem we have in the church, I used to be deceived before myself. I make my boast in God. I'm a very simple person. What I hate most in my life is materialism. If there's any fight between me and my wife, if we ever fight on anything, it is on this matter. You don't want to travel anywhere. You don't want to buy this. You don't want to buy that. I have 5 shirts already. Why should I buy more? And I will wear 5 shirts for 2 years. I will check, and I live in a country where I can buy 1,000 shirts in a month. Because my value system is not in material things. So what I want to say, I'm saying it with the ultimate sense of humility. I don't want to say, oh, Pastor is very proud. No, I'm driving home a point. I used to be deceived before myself in so many churches in Africa. As I'm talking today, if every one of my brothers and sisters that are still deceived, not everybody is deceived, don't get me wrong, the people that are deceived, which is a very large population, if every one of them have my kind of mindset, at least my own small kind of mindset, there are people that are better than me, that know more than me, the little thing that I know, the little, and that is not false humility, I'm serious, the little, if all the deceived people, if they have that knowledge, they will go to churches, and after services, they will go and meet the pastor in the office and say, sir, what I've said is wrong. What I've said is wrong. I don't believe this is right. A man that has been deceived before, that has known the truth, is your best mentor. Your best mentor in life is a man that has gone through what you are going through. I have been deceived before. I have spent and wasted millions, literally, on giving and sowing seeds that nothing came out of. So if a man that has sown seeds into millions, if he wants to mentor somebody who is sowing seeds in 100, he has more to talk, he can talk. So I have been deceived before. Many of my friends listening to me today, you are in the same class as well. You have known the truth. If many of our sisters and brothers that are being deceived, if they have your kind of mindset, many of our churches will be half emptied. Half. Population would have reduced. But because capacity drives thinking, and thinking dominates lifestyle. Capacity drives thinking. Thinking dominates lifestyle. It is what you believe that you will behave. It is what you behave you will become. That is the chain. Capacity drives thinking. Thinking drives lifestyle. It is what you believe you will behave. And it is what you behave you will become. So if your capacity is very small, you are under a pastor, he will be polishing your mind with error. All kind of falsified testimonies. It will bombard you, bamboozle you, because you have a small capacity. You are not educated, you are not exposed. You don't read other people's books. You don't have friends that are exposed. So you have a small capacity that will drive your thinking. I think Papa is right. My Papa is the best Papa in the world. And you will die for that man. The day your eyes open like this, you almost decline. Sometimes I wish God gives me the grace to go back to age 19 and relive my life again. My wife will be laughing at me these days. He'll be laughing at me. And I told you, I will sit down for hours consuming errors. And I will be passionate. If anybody talks about that man of God, I will fight you. I will block you on my phone. I say, Jesus, what happened to me? This is delusion. This is the day I began to see the errors and lies. Every one of those errors began to fall, began to fly in the face of the truth of scriptures. And I began to pump my library with the books of white preachers, missionaries, Baptist preachers, godly men of integrity, people who are laboring for God in villages. I began to read their books. And I began to see the truth of the scripture. Say, Jesus, I've been deceived. Capacity drives thinking. Thinking drives lifestyle. The way you are thinking now is not the way you will think if you go to Harvard. My wife tells me I should go to Harvard. I say it's a prestige thing. Men sometimes. I say, what is in Harvard that is not in the school I went to in Scotland? I went to one of the best schools in Scotland. I said, what is in Harvard? I know Harvard is better than that school, but and my wife said, no, I want to go to Harvard. I said, why? You know what it costs to go to Harvard? You know how expensive Harvard is? I go and do a 1 week course. I said, I will do it. I kept postponing it. I will do it next year. I'll just go and do one week course. 1 week course, they will tell you it's $30,000. 1 week course in capacity development and leadership. So I will go and look for one course. You know the course I will do? How to develop transformational leadership. Case study of Nigeria. That will be my research title. I wish I had done a doctorate degree in another area, not in the area that I went for. Capacity. I have 4 principles that can change a nation. The number 1 is capacity. The next one, this is driving me. Yes, my brother. They messed up our mind. One day I went to one of my friends who's a pastor, completely addicted to a man of God in Nigeria. So we used to fight, not like, and I said to him, so that man of God told them, he said, what he is today, anybody can become what he is if they do what he has done. I said, that is heresy, that's fallacy. My friend said, no, there is no God. Is not. I said, the God we serve is not. There's a scripture he quoted. There is no Greek or Jew. The same God said, no. How can a man of God tell you what he has become? You will become if you do what he has done. Do you know the plan of God for his life? I said, my friend, are you? But this my friend I'm talking about the capacity is still undergoing improvement. So we were thinking at different levels. How can I tell you you become what I become? Are we the same? And this man of God will be preaching this thing with passion. What I have become, anybody can become it. If you do what I do, you will see what I've seen. RSC. Do I know what God has called you to become? How will I become what you have become? By doing what you have done. Have you ever found any two people in the scriptures that became the same thing? Joseph became prime minister. Apostle Paul became apostle. Now imagine Joseph telling Paul, if you do what I've done, you become a prime minister. If God hadn't called Paul as a prime minister, do everything in this world you can do, you become it. My friend did everything. He did everything. Nothing happened. All the seed he sowed, he did everything. He did everything. The man did nothing happened. Nothing happened. Nothing for years. But the day I was telling him, he was fighting with me. Because people's mind, your capacity drives your thinking. Thinking drives lifestyle. Capacity drives thinking, and thinking drives lifestyle. There are things I did 30 years ago that today I'm just saying nobody must hear it. How could I collect money from this person? How could I? If I tell you some things I did, you just laugh. Because over the process of time, I had developed capacity, enlarged capacity, virtue of education, experience, ministry, prayer, a relationship. All those things polish you and build you up. That's why when a parent sees a child that is at age 3 behaves in a funny way, you know, a 2-year-old boy rolling on the floor, crying, and tears are coming on his eyes. I say, mommy, I want food. When the child becomes 6, the mommy will still condone some things. Mommy, I want food. Give me my feeding bottle. When the child becomes 14, I say, mommy, I want food. The woman will cry. I'm finished. They are finally caught up with me, my enemies. Like the Nigerians will say. The boy at 14 is rolling on the floor and screaming, mommy, my food, my lunch. If the mother is able to manage that crisis, the boy has become 25, a graduate, and comes home one day, and is rolling on the floor. Mommy, my feeding bottle. Mommy, my milk is finished. At 25, the woman will be crying. The woman will be crying. Let's go for deliverance. Unfortunately, that is how many Christians are behaving now. And in heaven, the angels are shaking their head like this. Because their brain has been rewired, reconfigured, reformatted by a lot of obnoxious theology that are preached in our churches. I was in a church in a day, the pastor was saying, if you don't have an offering, remove the button of your shirt. And I took my button off. Can you believe that? They messed our brain up. They messed up our brain. I removed the buttons of my shirt. Many years back now, of course. Many years back. I removed the buttons of my shirt. And the man gave a false testimony. I was in a place I didn't have offering. I took off my wristwatch. I took off my shoe. So when a man is telling you he took off his own wristwatch, a gold Rolex wristwatch, you will not look at yourself, ordinary button. You know the way this thing work. God. You will not even think the way they will give you a parallel testimony that will knock you down, that will diminish and debase you. You will see yourself so small. The little capacity that I had, they killed it. And I thank the God I serve. I just give thanks to God. God made sure there was no reward for any of those foolish sowing I did. God was raising a leader for a new generation in me. God was raising another generation. God had been saying, because he is omniscient and omnipotent, he had seen to the future. A time is coming. I am going to raise David to replace Saul. I am going to raise Samuel to replace Elias. So God made sure nothing. I complained. Is God angry with me? I've given. I did nothing came back. Out of 100 times I gave, for example, not once or twice. Can I remember? If that had happened, I would have perpetuated error. I would be one of the grand commanders of error. I'll be teaching it, writing it in my books. I will come on air today. I'll be raising offering. I will tell people, the Lord will turn you around. You will become president tomorrow. Remove your wristwatch. Remove your garments. Go to your mother's grave. Remove the sound there. I will be doing it now. I will be doing it now. Because only the beneficiaries of error persecute the truth. Only those who profit from errors persecute the truth. Anybody you see at the vanguard of persecuting the truth and screaming and fighting against the truth is benefiting from it. It is either actively benefiting or passively benefiting. Either is one benefiting or a friend of his friend benefiting. And he doesn't want to break the cycle of friendship. He will come and fight. And when I see these young people do these things this day, I just smile. I've been there. I've been there. And God made sure he rescued me because he was building up capacity in me. So these things I'm talking about cut across the church, the government. The greatest gift any pastor can give his member is to build capacity in them. Capacity. The first capacity is the capacity to serve God and to know God by yourself. No intermediary. You throw them to God. Carry them up and throw them at God. It's between you and God. I won't come between you. Make them to know God. Then the capacity to like the truth. Then the capacity to pursue their career and become the best. Even if it will cost the church anything. These are the people called leaders. Transformational leaders. And they are very scarce in the body of Christ. Very scarce. Very scarce. Only a handful of them. Only a handful. Only a handful. Only a handful. Only a handful. We are still on one verse of the scripture. Matthew 25 verse 2. Sorry, verse 14. After that man, after he had sorted out the issue of capacity, he now said, now, let me give you resources according to your capacity. So, you will attract your capacity. Did you hear that? You will attract your capacity. Do you know the reason why Microsoft will hardly employ anybody directly from Africa, from Nigeria? They employ a few people. Mark my words, I say hardly. So out of 1,000 people, they can take 2 or 1 or 3. But in the US, they will take 500. In England, they will take 50. In Africa, they will take 2. 1 person in Nigeria, 2 in Cameroon. Very little amount. So sometimes they do those things to balance the human resource, equal opportunity, and HR respect. So when they employ people from Africa, they do it to balance that thing. They must tell their government that they have employed 2 people from Africa. Not because they cannot find somebody in US that know better than me in Nigeria. Because the skills that we learn in university in Nigeria, you need to retrain and relearn before you can fit into their culture in Microsoft. You need to retrain. So any sane government should prepare their graduates to compete at the best. Why will Bill Gates want to hire people and pick only 2 people from Africa and pick 500 from America, 50 from India, 100 from England? Why? Capacity. Because you will only attract your capacity. Resources flow in the direction of capacity. Resources flow in the direction of capacity. You go and enlarge your capacity. Go and acquire a solid skill that nobody has in your industry. You are a medical doctor. Go and learn how to use laser systems, laser whatever, to do surgery. Something that nobody has done in your city. And sit down in your house, put your CV on the web, and say you are the only laser trained surgeon, heart surgeon in Africa. They will head on to you. They will fish you out, whatever you are. When the rich people are sick and they cannot fly there, because if they fly there, they will die in the plane. They are looking for a laser doctor. They will find you out. That is what capacity does. Capacity. It is capacity that attracted C. Ronaldo to 200,000 pounds per week salary. Salary. Because that guy, when he sees the goal, he scores goal. It is capacity that makes Lionel Messi to take 5 people in a team on the field and pack them to a corner and take the ball to the right and score. And And they have done everything possible to tame him. They can't tame him. That is capacity. There is something about capacity that drives resources towards the direction of capacity. So any society where the capacity are the lowest ebb, education quality is low, value systems are low, mindset is poor, even if they have natural resources around them, they either kill those resources or the resources kill them. That is why we find thousands of our politicians take resources to Zurich, buy $100 million furniture in a sitting room, because capacities or resources don't die. You either kill resources. Resources don't stay neutral. You either kill resources or resources kill you. It's either you kill the resources and make mockery of it and useless it, or it kills you. You use it in a terrible way that it kills you. The two types of people in this world: the people who use resources and those who are used by resources. That was why that man started with capacity in Matthew 25 verse 14. Let me check your ability first. Before he gave them gifts, he checked ability. When he sized them up, you deserve 5, he gave 1 5. You deserve 2, he gave 1 2. So a country that has capacity for 1 cannot attract 5. That is my message for my beloved nation of Nigeria. Pastors, bishops, apostles, fathers of the land that love that nation, they should start building capacity for the next generation. Government officials, leaders, they should start building capacities. Resources don't stay neutral. You see, in Rwanda, in Sierra Leone and Rwanda, have you watched this movie before? Blood Diamond. I watched it twice or 3 times. 3 times. If I watched it in the air when I was flying somewhere about 3 years ago, I watched it in the plane. The politicians in Rwanda, in Sierra Leone, they were like Nigerian politicians. They will steal diamonds, trade diamonds, stash the money in Switzerland. They did all kinds of unimaginable things. The common man, the average man, was suffering in Rwanda. Poverty was at the highest level. Remember this principle. It is either you kill resources or resources kill you. When the people got to a breaking point, militia came together, insurgents came together, they stole those diamonds. They used those diamonds to purchase weapons. So they didn't have money to buy weapons. They give diamonds to different other militias from other countries. So they began to stockpile weapons. They were stockpiling weapons, and they were using diamonds. It became an international disaster. The world, the United Nations, everybody was involved. They called that film Blood Diamond. Google Blood Diamond and see it. What was the result on Rwanda? There was a civil war. The millions of people that died in Rwanda, Africa had never witnessed it before. Plus Sierra Leone. I have not prayed for war in any African country. I am against war. It is better to jaw than to war. You've heard that before. It is better to jaw than to war. J-A-Y, jaw. To sit down and talk like this than to war. There is nothing good about war. I have families in Nigeria, brothers, sisters, friends, and nobody must die. I have interest there. So we don't want war. But we must stand up and compel our leaders to build capacities. They are killing capacities. Tens of thousands of remaining capacities that we have in medicine are going overseas. Doctors, pharmacists, nurses, they are all flying abroad, leaving that country. They are going out. Nigerian doctors are one of the most brilliant in the US. Just yesterday, a senior nurse again called me yesterday from Lagos, Nigeria. She and her family, they are going to Canada. They are leaving Nigeria. They are leaving. She had been a nurse for 25 years. Imagine a nurse with 25 years experience. That's just one nurse. Not the thousands of other nurses in other states of the country who are living. and she's taking that capacity out to Canada. They don't need extra nurse in Canada. Their nurses are enough. It is in Nigeria we need nurses. Because when capacities are not appreciated, the people that appreciate it will take it from you. Take it from you. We are just on Matthew 25 verse 14 now. The man he measured and examined their capacity before he gave them resources. Profound revelation. Capacity measurement before resource attraction. Now, not running after resources when you haven't solved the problem of capacity. Many Nigerians are looking for a job. Your capacity is not competitive. You can't compete. You can't compete. I had a resume, my personal resume, my engineering resume. It took me like 3-4 years to build it up. So I had one of our sisters in church who was looking for a job, a senior brother. And he sent me his resume. I smiled. I said, if you use they have not called him for one interview. So you want to apply for a job in multinational companies. I receive dozens of phone calls, emails, different recruit agents calling me when they see my resume. I make my boast in God. I said, if you use my resume, they will call you for interview. And the lady said, please, I should give you my resume. So she used my resume, she formatted her own, the structure. Within 3 days, she got a phone call from a company. Who wants this resume? The people we are competing with, they have gone to Harvard. You cannot be average. Mediocrity is not part of the covenant. You cannot be a mediocre as a Christian. Jesus was the wisest individual on earth. Mark chapter 6 verse 1. When the Pharisees saw Jesus, they said, what wisdom is this, that such a mighty works are done with him? When Jesus stands before you, even the thought of your heart, he'll be telling you. And Jesus knew what they were thinking. The Bible says, for we have the mind of Christ. Jesus' mind was a super excellent mind. So, your baseline and my baseline as a Christian, your minimum standard is the mind of Christ. There is no room for mediocrity. You did not commit intellectual suicide by being a Christian. There is no basis for mediocrity. You must build capacity in your home, in your children, in your life, as a leader, as a pastor, for your church. You must build capacity. Enlarge yourself. Enlarge yourself. Enlarge yourself. And from research, listen to this, from academic research, when the mind of a man is enlarged, it doesn't return to the original position. When the mind, I'm telling you of empirical research, when the mind of a man is enlarged, it doesn't return to its original position, whether it is by error or by truth. Whether it is an error or by truth, that is physical research. There is nothing God cannot do now. There is nothing God cannot do. So when you begin to bombard your mind with error, with falsehood, with error, manipulation, and you're under a pastor that is brainwashing you, it may take decades to come out of it. When the mind of a man is enlarged, it is warfare. To put it back, it is warfare. Because it is capacity that drives thinking, and thinking drives lifestyle. You can never be greater than the quality of your thoughts. It is what you believe that you will behave, and it is what you behave you will become. That is the trajectory. It is what you believe you will behave, and by default, it is what you behave you will become. Because as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. Capacity. So many people that are praying and fasting, I want a better job. I want a better job. There are many women, many men that want to go into marriage. They don't have capacity. Next Saturday is marriage. I don't want to go to that now. Next Saturday is marriage. I'm talking about marriage. Because if I open that one now, it is another thing entirely. Many people that are going to marriage have no capacity. If you are a married person, you know what I'm talking about. Go to marriage with a teaspoon capacity. It's by the grace of God you won't run out. T.D. Jakes said, marriage matures people. Nothing can be truer. Nothing can be more accurate. Marriage matures people. Wait till next Saturday. Capacity. So, the first order is capacity. Second order is resource attraction. So we see a nation like Nigeria, they don't build capacity, or they build shallow capacities. And they are looking for resources all over the world. And we want the brilliant man. We want a professor Harvard. And the capacities are poor. So they keep bringing Dr. Okonjo-Iweala from World Bank. Hey, this one from World Bank. To build on weak structures. To build on poor, debilitating and dilapidating capacities. And those people come, they bring all the macro and micro economic theories of World Bank, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work. The people are not prepared. They are not prepared. And to fail to prepare is to prepare to fail. To fail to prepare is to prepare to fail. For the last 15, 16, 20, 30, 40 years, the people have been battered. They have suffered years of misrule. Monies have been stolen. Injustices, violence. They have been subjected to brainwashing, manipulation by so many pastors. And so you did not do anything to polish them up over a period of time. Not in a day, over a period of time. With the money you have now, you're not going outside the world to bring additional resources to build on faulty capacities, to build on capacities that are not competitive. It doesn't work. So these guys come from World Bank, they do all the analysis, the country has remained the same. The order is that capacity must be built for. It is better to bring professors from Harvard and mix them up in our universities, make them to examine our curriculum, straighten them out, polish them out, train our lecturers, and teach our children, send them abroad for exchange programs, have a systematic approach from grassroots, primary school, build standard universities, world-class secondary schools, fit primary schools with computer systems, put security systems there, begin to build things from the grassroots and build capacity. When you now begin to bring all the experts, 30 years down the line, the country will be matured. There is something we call change readiness in change management. We call it change readiness. Organizational readiness. You want to bring change to a company, you go there and check if they are ready first. And you do some analysis and check. And you scale, you grade them. Oh, they are not ready. So you now do something to them to get them ready before you bring the change. Not in Nigeria. You want to build change, build success, build prosperity on weak capacities. So year in, year out, every dispensation, new government, the new government is always worse than the old. 2019, somebody else comes in, that person will always be worse than the one that is here now. 2023, that person too will be worse than 2019, because it is the same cycle, recycling the same idea, recycling the same mentality, because the capacities are very, very, very weak and poor. 80 million people are illiterate. 80 million people of Nigeria are literate. Among the ones that are literate, there are some of them that are educated illiterate. The people that can stand on the road, graduate with their phone, and they'll be recording jungle justice. Graduate that can do gang rape. Graduates, biochemistry, they'll go and do gang rape of a girl. Sometimes they're not caught. And these are the people that want to build a nation on. After you have attracted resources, the first thing is capacity, next is resource. Not resource before capacity. Then the third one is trade. What a guy told them, say go and trade. Go and trade. This is a topic I love to talk about, but there's no time. The man told those people, go and trade. The first person went to trade. Second person went to trade. The third person went to hide his money in Zurich. The third person went to hide his money in Zurich. That is what we are going through now. Trading is the principle of effective, sustainable utilization of resources. What is trading? Investment. Investment in infrastructure, in technology, in capacity building. Investment. Pastors invest on members, not members investing on you alone. It should be mutual. It should be symbiotic relationship, not parasitic relationship. It should not be a predator and prey relationship. If a member can buy me a car as a pastor, I can buy a member a car. It should be mutual. The man told them, go and trade. Trade is investment. How many of our pastors stand on the altar and tell members, the money you have, go and invest it. You can support this work with whatever you want to, but invest. The only investment we know is seed investment. This is Jesus giving a parable now. Any parable Jesus tells is an indication of his value system. Any parable you hear from Jesus' mouth, that is the indication of the way Jesus thinks. People must trade. They must invest. Investment. Investment is what multiplies money. Investment, work. We are living in the generation of cryptocurrency, real estate, shares, stocks. How many pastors tell their members, go and buy stocks, go and invest, go and do Bitcoin? How many tell them that? It is the other way around. Bring the money to me, bring it to my building, bring it to my property. It is kingdom work. They know nothing about the kingdom. I did a series on kingdom. You don't know anything. We know nothing about what is called kingdom. Because kingdom is not outward inside. Kingdom is inside outward. Is to go out and go and change the world and immerse them in the values of the kingdom. That is called kingdom church, kingdom discipleship. This man told his disciples, 3 of them, go and invest in the political space. What is the scale of investment that Nigeria as a country has? Nigeria is number 6, number 7 among the wealthiest nation in oil in the world. People are killing themselves fighting on oil, petrol scarcity. Every nation in the world that I know of, particularly where I have lived, I've lived in Europe, lived in North America, even South Africa. I have never queued one day for fuel, not as in taking my turn in a fuel station. Many of them are number 40, number 30, number 50 on the global ranking. Because if you want to know a society that has sane leaders, they appreciate investment, infrastructure, facilities, systems, structure, strategy. They invest. The 3rd servant went to hide his money. That is reminiscent of the kind of life many of our pastors and politicians live. That is what Jesus was saying when he said, you don't store up treasure. You don't store it up. He didn't say don't have treasure. Jesus said do not store treasure. There is a difference between having and storing. In other words, be a channel, not a reservoir. Be a channel and not a reservoir. Don't wake up and say my account balance is $450 million and you are rolling a chair and you are happy. That is unchristian, ungodly, wicked. If $450 million comes to account today, as a kingdom disciple, you already know the need it will meet. Not your own need alone, the need of yourself and the entire kingdom. Even at times, there have been many times I went hungry because I wanted to meet somebody else's need. One young girl called a friend of mine in Nigeria, a pastor friend of mine, and said she was being thrown out of her house by the landlord. The girl was an orphan. And the girl was going to one of our churches. And my friend called me. They wanted to pay our house rent. I said, what's happening now? Go and fix it. My friend said he doesn't have money that time. Go and fix it. And I asked my friend, I said, why doesn't that girl go to a church? My friend began to laugh. Said, no, churches, they don't help people to pay rent. They don't. I shook my head like this. You know what shocked me most? My friend said the girl told him, anything you want in return, including my body, I will give you. Anything you want in return, please help me. I said, I was begging my friend. I said, this girl is extremely vulnerable. And Satan, you know when Jesus was praying for Peter, Jesus said, Satan has desire to have you, but I have prayed for you. I said, Satan has desire to have this girl. If you drop the phone on her, she will go to another man who will sleep with her and give her money. And you have win and finish this game. When a lady gets to a point where she's willing to offer her body in return for solution to a problem, she had gotten to a breaking point. She had gotten to a breaking point. If I tell you how much this money is, ridiculously small. When I dropped the phone and the Holy Spirit spoke to me, he said, that's a need now. Meet the need now. Meet the need. I just called my friend and said, how much is the money? Send me your account. And I sent the money to my friend. I said, send it yourself. You go and send it to her yourself. And I have done dozens and hundreds of such things without anybody knowing anything about it. Between me and God alone. Between me and God. My wife and I have done the same thing times without number. Locally and internationally, to the glory of God. With the little resource we have, little money we have. And there are people that sit on top of billions. I was literally fighting with a leading man of God who called me and was talking, and he said, any man of God that sits on top of money is not a true man of God. I said, it's a lie. No, I argue. I said, no, don't say that. People cannot be poor. I said, no. It's not poverty. I'm not saying you don't have money. But when you see a man of God that is sitting on top of money, and he has 10 accounts. In one account, $20 million. Second account, $10 billion. And he said it's not a true man of God. We were arguing back and forth. When the man dropped and we stopped talking, I started thinking, I said, the man said to me, he's a leading Baptist preacher in Nigeria. He said, as you look at all the pastors that God has used, all the prophets he has used in scripture and in contemporary times, up till the 19th century, the man is a theologian. He said, as you look at all of them, and see any of them that sat on top of wealth. Anything God gave them, they used it. Even up to Kenneth Hagin. When Kenneth Hagin was celebrating his 80th birthday, 80, he loved Rolls Royce. He said it, he loved Rolls Royce. Every time they gave him Rolls Royce, he would sell it off and put the money back into the church for a project, for a ministry work. So on the day of his 80th birthday, they bought a Rolls Royce for Kenneth Hagin and they set him up. One of the guys who will give him the key picked the microphone and announced to the whole church, we are going to give our father this car. He did it to embarrass Hagin. And he said, we are going to give it to him on one condition. Because we know Papa, we know Daddy, he's not going to use the car, he's going to sell it off. So they did it deliberately to embarrass him. And so we're going to call Hagin to come on the altar and to make a promise to us that he's not going to sell this car. Everybody was shouting, who are clapping, because they knew the kind of life he lived. Up on the time Hagin died, they called him Brother Hagin. Brother Hagin. The man didn't visit Nigeria one day. He only went to South Africa, I think once or twice. Up to today, the whole world has not recovered from the impact of his ministry. When Hagin climbed the altar, he picked microphone. He just spoke in tongues for like 10-15 seconds. They asked him again. He just spoke in tongues and went back to sit down. He didn't answer that question. Will you sell this car? He didn't answer them. So when this man was telling me, look at all the men of God has used. Liam Bonke, even up to Joseph Ayo, Babalola of Nigeria. He said, look at all of them and see how many of them sat. All the A.A. Allen. All the Smith Wigglesworth, all those apostles that did unimaginable miracles. William Branham was so anointed that physically you will see a rainbow on his head. Go on Google and type William Branham. This man was so anointed, he lived in the 60s, in the 50s. you will see a blue rainbow of the glory of God on his head. All kinds of miracles. Hands that are short will go out. Legs will go out. The man was like small, like a god. The man lived a normal life. Having every resources God gave them, they used them. So when this man was telling me, he said, I should go and check the history of the world. All the people God has used, how many of them sat on top of wealth? And they say this man is worth 50 billion. And the money, the assets, the properties are scattered all over the world. In his own name, in his name of his children, not in the name of a charity. He said he's not a man of God. We argued and argued. When the man dropped, I said, this man, I think he's right though. I think he's right though. Because I like the truth. I think he's right though. I started doing research. As I'm a researcher, I was checking. Hey, Helen, Smith Wigglesworth. I was checking. I'm going to shock you today. Many of us know the late Archbishop Benson Idahosa. Bless God for his life. He was not a perfect man too. And I thank God for what God used him to do. There were some other things he did that we don't like. When the late Archbishop died, I had this directly from the mouth of one of his spiritual sons. Directly. They went to his bank account. They found 5,000 naira there. 5,000 naira. When they were to pay the school fees of his children in London, it was this man of God that told me, he said he was one that paid their school fees. So all the flamboyance of Archbishop Idahosa, he will go to an entourage, all those things, they checked his bank account, they found nothing there. They searched account in England, they found nothing there. So everybody was shocked. The wife was shocked. They thought we were going to see hundreds of millions stashed in Zurich. They found nothing there. The man used everything. He finished everything before he died. I'm not saying he's perfect. I'm not saying he has not done good things or bad things. I leave him to God. We are all humans. But what I'm saying is this. Trading, investment, Look at the order. Capacity, resource attraction, and trading. Anything I tell you today, I had most of those things directly from the mouth of those who did it. Directly. I won't tell you what I read in newspaper. I had it directly. They checked Archbishop account, 5,000 naira was found there. This pastor told us he paid the school fees of his children in the UK. One was in London. He paid. He was not an offer to pay. Just to help the family when Archbishop died. So when you see people that follow Archbishop is my father in the Lord, and they are stashing wealth all over the world, it's between them and God. My focus this morning is not on pastors. I'm just putting the two groups of people that have the greatest influence on Africans as our religious leaders and politicians and president and governors. So we are all leaders. We are all ministers. Minister is service. Ministry means service. You don't have to wear a collar to be a servant, to be a leader. Trading. We are in the generation of trading. Trading can be economic trading. You sell a good, you make money. It can be the trading of your talent. Now, look at the order. Capacity first, resource second, trading third. Now, if you don't have capacity as number one, what do you trade in number three? So, if you have built capacity, like I said, you have a very serious skill, then your pastor or the leader will now help you to trade that capacity to get a very good job. So how many of us can trade what we have now to get a very fantastic offer with Microsoft? If you submit your resume to Microsoft, will the recruiter look at it twice? Wow, where is this boy? He's in Africa. We must get him. Trading can also be investment. There are things I wish I can say, but because I'm on here, I can't be saying it because I don't discuss personal lives of people. Because It's part of the ethics of ministry. Many of them can be watching me now, and somebody knows somebody that knows somebody. So I'm always very careful. The ones I've shared are general things in the general public, general domain. I'm sorry, the line is freezing. Number 4, because I want to stop before 2 o'clock. Number 4, please listen to this. I will stop in 10 minutes. There are 4 principles. They can change any nation. Capacity. Please help me share this message. Please, I'm going to put on my YouTube link as well. Help me share it. Number 1 is capacity. The church and politicians have a role to play. Number 2 is resource. How to get resource. Resource must come after capacity. The church and the government have a role to play. Resources must not just flow from people to pastor alone. Pastor must get the resources and use it for people as well. Number 3 is trading, investment. Invest. Jesus gave this proverb. Jesus is not against investment. Now, I'm not saying selfishness now or greed. Your own money, your income, your salary. If you want to be more useful to a generation and you have $100, you look for how to make that 100 become 1,000 so you can have more money to help more people. The more you have, the greater the ability to help people. So trading is number 3. These things are arranged in the Bible. I haven't quoted 2 scriptures, just one. The Bible is loaded. That is why I said when I began, if you limit yourself to salvation, which is the most important, but God has kept you and I on earth. If the reason for saving us is for us to go to heaven, He would have killed us the day we got born again. But you're going to be on earth for the next 50, 60 years. For what? Jesus said, occupy till I come. Go and take over the world. Begin to immerse them in the values of the kingdom. Fulfill purpose. Change society. Help the poor. Feed the hungry. All of these things can be done without first capacity in place. 2, resource. 3, trading, investment. How to multiply what you have. I'm not speaking of multiplying by sowing it now. If God leads you to sow and you're convinced, do it. You know what I do now? No, I got to a point one day, I said, I'm not going to, not now, maybe in the last 3 years, I'm not going to sow any seed again to any church if I'm not led to do it. If I'm led to do it, I'm going to do it. If I'm in the church, put your head on the floor and your leg on top. Preach anything you want to preach. I won't stand up. If I'm led, I'll do it. If I feel I should help, I'll do it. You know what I do? All the resources we have, me and my wife, we are not looking for the poor people, the missionaries. I will go and look for the missionaries in Saudi Arabia. People who are underground. I will send money to them. Missionaries that are going into the Muslim, into the cliques in northern Nigeria. I have them. I have the account. I send money to them. I said, I will never do what I did in the past again. I will never. The persecuted church, these guys are captured. They are beheaded. They don't have Bibles. They don't have shoes. I joined the association. I began to send money from our church. Send it to them. I will send all over the world. There was an agency in the US that buys shoes for shoeless children in Ethiopia. Shoeless. Children who have not worn shoe for 15 years. And I joined them. And so we bought dozens and dozens, maybe hundreds, I'm not sure, of shoes. Send it to those children in Ethiopia. I am so happy. Jesus says, as long as you do it to those people, you have done it to me. You have done it to me. As long as you do it to those people, you have done it. Prisoners, people that cannot pay their school fees, people that are hungry, people that are homeless, and I feel so fulfilled. That's what I'm doing now, and God is blessing me for it. Let me tell you the last one before you go. The last one. After this man had given them the talent, the last one, like our politicians and some of our pastors, he went to hide his own talent. He went to hide his talent. He hid it. The man came back for accountability. That is the last. Any society that will grow and become prosperous. The ethos of accountability must be grounded in that society. Unfortunately, that is one of the monsters bedeviling Nigeria as a nation. No accountability. Pastors are not accountable to anybody, to God alone, which is a lie. Many of our churches in Nigeria, if they were located abroad, they would have been shut down. Every year, the account statement of our church, I must file it to the government. Otherwise, they shut me down. The auditors from the government must come to our church. They check our books. I cannot behave anyhow. I cannot oppress people. Anybody can pick the phone and call the government and report me. That puts me in check. A society that has no checks and balances will be raising all kinds of people, all kinds of human beings, wicked people. Like I said in my value system program, wickedness, heartlessness. Because when you cannot be caught, when you feel you are above the law, you can do anything you are doing. That is why a pastor will go on the altar in Nigeria and say all kinds of things. Nobody is checking anything. Nobody. The society is completely bereft of values. Climb the altar and say any nonsense in America or in England and abuse people or insult them. I see what will happen to you. That is why even though they have people that misbehave too, your misbehavior must not affect society. You can misbehave in your church in America or in Canada. Make sure it doesn't affect the people or your children. You cannot even treat your children anyhow you like. You can't do it. They can seize your children from you. You cannot abuse your children. You can't abuse your wife. You can't insult people in the church. You cannot do it. They pick the phone and report you to Charity Commission, and they will summon you and withdraw your license. If you are not careful and you misbehave for that, they can put you behind bars. What do you think that does? Accountability. So everybody's accountable, not just to God alone, but to people. It is a lie for a pastor to say, I am not accountable to people. It is a lie. It is error. It is error. I don't have time to explain how Apostle Paul, how Peter, how these guys, how they taught and raised the first church. They were made to be accountable to God and then to people around them. When the apostles were overwhelmed and they needed people to help them, in Acts chapter 8, the apostles told the church members, go and search for people among you of honest integrity, of proven integrity, and that speak the truth, and bring them to us. So the apostle didn't tell them, go and pray and tell the Holy Spirit to choose people. He said, go and search people that have behaved well among you, people whose behaviors conform with the values of the kingdom. We will now anoint them. Not go and pray. Once God has selected somebody, nobody is accountable to him again. He can do anything he likes. No, that is wrong. That is wrong. Accountability. That is the foundation. We build it from capacity to resources to trading and then to accountability. That is the four layers of societal transformation. That is what makes Germany better than Nigeria. That is what makes Denmark better than Ghana. You cannot behave anyhow as a governor. You can be impeached as a president. You can be jailed as a pastor. So when you have that mindset that you cannot behave anyhow, it will help you to compose yourself. Comport yourself. When money comes to your pocket as a pastor, you can't do anything. I went to the bank about 3 months ago to do something. And a friend of mine in the US sent money, and I was supposed to collect the money and send back to him for something. And they weren't asking me a question. Who are you? What do you do? They want to call somebody else. Where do we get the money from? What is this? What is that? Can we see your ID card? They Google my name. I was so angry in the bank because I was getting late. I put my ID card out, my driver's license out. What is happening here? Because their society is built on accountability, on truth, on integrity. Those are the ethos. Those are the ethos. So an age of anything goes. That is our age in Africa, in Nigeria. Anything goes. Anything goes. Anything goes. Can the church embrace this template? And so somebody was saying, what is the benefit of all these things I'm doing and that thousands of other people are doing? Just talking. Why don't you come and play the ball with them? No, you don't play ball with people whose value systems are already corrupt. You have to transform that first. You have to work on transforming. If you can't transform the leaders, then transform the led. So when the led become transformed, they will pull themselves out of the clutches of the leaders. And there is no greater form of value system transformation than education. Education. If you spend 1 week in Stanford University today and do 1 week course, your life will be transformed. The people you will meet in the class, directors from Microsoft, senior managers from Dell, during the break time, you will be put in groups where you will do seminars together. 1 week of relationship, 1 week of education in Harvard University can make a change to 40 years of life. Because that is what capacity does. You are polishing your capacity up. That is why when they take a footballer from a Nigerian league and they put that footballer in Real Madrid, within 1 year, he becomes superstar. He is no longer competing at the average level now. He's not competing with the best in the world. So when he's playing with C. Ronaldo and they are chatting, they are going to launch together and he's copying him. Within 1 year, by the time that guy comes back to Nigeria, he becomes something else. Because capacity has changed. So our resources are used to transform societies. Capacity development. Number 1. Resources flow in the direction of capacity. That's number 2. Number 3 is trading, investment. These are heavy duty subjects that I can take weeks to teach. Every duty subject, trading, investment, individual investment, family investment, national investment, investment in research and development. How many governors in Nigerian states focus on R&D? How many of them focus on R&D? Some of them even schooled abroad. But many of them, once they cross the Atlantic Ocean and they land on that soil called Nigeria, they become something else. And they become what my former professor in Stanford University said. When you bring a good leader into a bad system, the bad system turns the good leader into a bad leader. When you bring a good leader into a bad system, the bad system turns the good leader into a bad leader. Look at all the great people that came. Okonjo-Iweala, Alice Madueke, these are people that studied in Harvard. Study in Harvard. As soon as they enter that society, that endemically corrupt and warped and disorganized system and structure, they become something else. Many of them left in disgrace because capacity was not there. The capacity mindset of people, the leaders. So this has nothing to do with prayer. As important as prayer is, we pray till Jesus comes. Until we have leaders who will do the right thing. Until we have leaders who will do the right thing. Nigeria doesn't need more than 10 people. Let me not say 10. 2 groups of people to change that country. You need a good leader as a president and a crack team of ministers. Oh my God. Word by word, crack team. When you use word crack team, that word is used in intelligence, in the military. A crack team. You know the SEAL, the US SEAL, the SEAL Team 6. That's a crack team. The people that killed Bin Laden. So when you put a crack team of ministers and you have a good president, that country will change. Leave the senators alone. The president still has a measure of executive powers that is not controlled or mitigated by Senate. The constitution gives the president a measure of power. He can do anything. You just need a good president and a crack team of ministers. That country will change. I am talking of people who have no allegiance to godfatherism. They don't know godfatherism. You cannot buy them. You cannot influence them. You cannot bribe them. That's a crack team. When they get the budget, 30 billion, they spend it to the last 100 naira on what it has been allocated for. And they will ensure that it succeeds. That is called a crack team. From beginning to the end, they don't have allegiance to anybody. And the president is a super transformer. You will be surprised. Singapore was worse than Nigeria before. One of my friends does business in Singapore. And he has a very good contact with industry leaders in Singapore. When he showed me the picture of Singapore 40 years ago, Nigeria is a developed country. Nigeria is a developed country compared to Singapore. They just swept away a group of leaders and brought other people there. Crack team of leaders. If you enter Singapore, death to drug traffickers. You see it in their airport in Singapore. Death to drug traffickers. They wrote it in the Singaporean language and in English. Anybody that is caught, even if it is the son of the president, they kill him. That is a leader. Without fear or favor. Execute justice and righteousness. Without fear or favor. The same thing that must happen to the rich must happen to the poor. That is called equity. It is called justice. That is a leader, and with his crack team of ministers. One in charge of technology, in terms of R&D, in terms of medicine, in terms of health, in terms of agriculture, and across the country, each of the ministers will build a crack team of ministry. All the permanent secretaries, director general, all of them under them will be like them. Because you can only attract your type. You can only attract your type. You can only attract your type. So if the minister is a crack minister, he will attract crack people. Because he's going to be the one that will elect them and employ them. If the minister is compromised, he will attract compromised people. Nigeria, in 1 year, in 1 year, Nigeria will be amazed. That is why I said everything rises and falls on leadership. Everything rises and falls. I put it in my note here. Capacity, resources, trading, accountability, everything summed up together rises and falls on leadership. Rises and falls on leadership. Rises and falls on leadership. You know why I like this man? I know he has a lot of mad behavior. This guy, this Philippine president, Duterte or something, I forgot his name. Hi, he said if they catch his son involved in drugs, they should kill his son. They should kill his son. You see, Nigeria does not need somebody. Hey, that country contains so much of madness. In my language, they will say you use madness to cure madness. They will say you use madness to cure madness. We need somebody who will set his eyes, a visionary. Even to the last citizen of this country, living in a remote village, his life must be transformed. And he bulldozes his way through the rank and file of politicians, and he accomplishes his target, at least to the level of the power he has. There are some other things he cannot do without the Senate. But the ones he can do, that is the problem we are combating with now, because the country has millions and thousands of young, middle, senior leaders who have nothing to do with leadership. Everybody's hands is soiled. So anything you want to do, you make a recourse to your godfather. I can't do this thing. This man put me there. Somebody who sponsored your election and is giving you a phone call, you can't do anything against him. You have been compromised already. So the capacity I'm talking about, education, investment, all those things, you cannot invest in them because the guy that gave you money for your election is calling you. I have to take my money back from you. I have to give you the new minister. I'm the one that put you there. 10 ministers must come for me. And the guy is sending you a list. Because he sponsored you there, you must have allegiance to him. Otherwise, he can go to the newspaper and destroy your credibility and expose all your secrets. So because many of them, their hands are soiled. That is why it is very difficult for them. They know the right thing to do, but they can't do it. They can't do it. They cannot do it. They cannot do it. So I have done extensive study on these issues, and even though I'm a pastor and I belong to the church, I love the church, I have been blessed by the church, I have friends in the church, we are all together, we are all the same in Christ. The church should not be destroyed, the church should be protected and preserved, and we just continue to pray and do our best. But we still understand that the church in Nigeria controls 30 to 40 million of people. So if the leaders in the political space, if they are difficult to change, we don't have the money to compete with them. We've been praying for them for the past 40 years or 60 years since independence. Then let's face our constituency as Christians and ask God to change the leadership in the church. That's what we can do through prayer. God answers that kind of prayer. I believe you can pray away leaders. Pray them away. There was a time leaders in America began to misbehave. William Branham came up and he said, I am the Elijah of this generation. And God spoke to Kenneth Hagin, go and tell him he's going to die. William Branham drove and had an accident and he died. Hagin went to tell him. Hagin took Gordon Lindsay. Hagin and Gordon Lindsay, they went to William Branham. Sir, Hagin was a small boy at that time. Sir, this is heresy. You can't be the Elijah. There is only one Elijah according to Jesus Christ, is John the Baptist. The man drove him away. He laughed. And Hagin said, "You asked me to tell you, in 3 months you'll be a dead man." Real life story. The man just drove, had an accident and he died. So God can take, I'm not saying people should die, don't get me wrong. God has many ways of changing the vanguard of leadership in the church. There are many people that God will keep on the throne, like Saul, and will raise David. They'll be preaching, they will have crowds, but God has changed them. God is the only employer that fires people and keeps them on the throne. He is the only employer that fires people and keeps them on their job. That is the God we serve. He will raise Samuel. He had fired Eli. He raised Samuel up. Fired Saul. Raised David up. I said, you think you are a minister, you are preaching. The crowd is filling your church. Your fire has been moved. In the human resource of heaven, HR, you have moved your fire. They have changed it. Your ministry has ended. But God will not take you out. That is where God works. He won't take you out. Except in rare occasions, when God wants to serve a notice to a generation. So as church, we can pray away good leaders and pray in new breed of leaders. But in politics, prayer can work to an extent. But action, involvement, the way you are doing it, the way I'm doing it, writing articles, doing posts, social media, educating people, using our resources, plus prayer. Because in the spiritual realm, in the church, you cannot use weapons of man to make spiritual changes. You can't go and drag people from the church and say, you are a pastor, you are a bad pastor. Leave this church. You can't do it. You can't do it. It's a spiritual thing. It's an emotional thing. But in politics, it's much more a physical thing. There are spiritual aspects of politics, but the physical is very strong. People have to vote. People have to get their cards. You have to elect leaders. There are so many physical things that are involved in politics that we can influence physically by what you do and by what I do. And so, this is my heart cry this afternoon, and this is Kingdom Order Part 2. Next Saturday will be explosive, and we are going into marriage. Marriage, and I will make sure it is not just marriage of husband and wife. I will make sure it is marriage. Any alliance between people is a marriage. I will break it down. Marriage in society, alliances between church and members is a marriage. I will make sure I spread it out. I don't want you to marry. So people that are not married, oh, this is a marriage to me. I'm not coming for it. It's going to be explosive. Please help me share this on your timeline. If you came in late, you missed a lot. The first section of this seminar is something else. You need to listen to the section on capacity. Capacity building is going to change your life. And the section on resources. Resources flow in the direction of capacity. Capacity building is the bedrock of societal transformation. You want to be a better person. Build your capacity. Enlarge your capacity. As a church, as an individual, as a nation, as an engineer, as a doctor, as whatever. Resources don't come before capacity. You have to have capacity first before you attract resources into your life. And then you have to be a trader. You have to be a trader, not a waiter. A trader. We have many waiters and waitresses in the body of Christ. Pastors have made many of our friends and brothers waiters and waitresses. Waiters and waitresses. Rambonki will say, God does not wait with waiters. He doesn't sleep with sleepers. God walk with workers. According to Rambonki, he doesn't wait with waiters. Waiters. 10 years, you're still waiting. 20 years, you're still waiting. I'm waiting for God. God will do it. 25 years, God will do it. You are 50, God will do it. 60, God will do it. 75 years, God will do it. You are gray already on your hair, God will do it. God are the people who know nothing about John 3:16 in Japan, in China. They are making the phones that you and I are using. So I want to provoke you and everyone listening to me. It's a privilege for me to have you listen to me. This is Saturday. You could have done something else. There are hundreds of people on Facebook that are speaking and teaching fantastic subjects that you should have listened to. I believe God directed you here today. You and I are members of the kingdom of God. You are a kingdom diplomat. Jesus has only one mandate for you and I. Go and baptize the nation. Baptize in Greek is baptizo. And baptizo is an old Greek practice of dyeing a cloth. When you take a blue dye and you take a white cloth, you put the white cloth in the dye. When you take out the white, it becomes, the white cloth assumes the color of the dye. So God is saying, go and baptizo the nation. Go and immerse everybody you meet in the values of the kingdom. When people meet you, their color should be transformed. Go and dye people. Dye them. Dye them in humility. Dye them in truth. Dye them in patience. Dye them in discipline. Dye them in integrity. Dye them in knowledge. Everybody that comes in contact with you must be baptized. You dye them. That is called kingdom discipleship. That is called kingdom discipleship. And so this is what we are doing. Wherever you and I go this year, this January, I want us to start with this order. That is why I started with kingdom order. And I'm going to start a new series on leadership very soon, which will be running regular, not on a weekend basis. I will give you notice about it very soon. Thank you so much for taking our time this afternoon. I need to go and have my lunch. I am very hungry. Thank you so much, brother Pastor Joe, everybody, brother Layinka, sister Remy, brother Remy, Jitendra, everybody. God bless you so much this afternoon. I see you again on Saturday. Thank you so much. I love you all. Blessings, everyone.